Our current solid waste provider is FCC, as many of you know. Here's what I'll tell you, we're not here today to complain about them. We are starting the process today to pick our next solid waste provider. It is not a small task. It takes months and months. You'll see a little bit of the timeline. The reality today is that trash providers have a really hard time getting equipment, just like everything else, right? You go to buy a washing machine. I just bought a refrigerator. I had to pick out of 2 that could be delivered in 4 days because I needed a refrigerator. And it's like that with everything. Well, imagine if you have to provide a brand new fleet of trash trucks and trash carts. It's taking them about 18 months to get those services on the ground. FCC knows we're doing this. It's not a surprise. We've had a conversation with them. A lot has changed in the last 7 years of their contract. Their contract is up October of 2024. So what we're going to do today is kind of talk about what the future of this looks like. What we got 5 years ago for a certain price isn't out there today. And what we want to hear from you is, what do our residents want? We're going to do 3 of these. What do our residents want? So when we go out to bid, we know what to look for as a city. So Ronnie and Mike have some guidance from you to say, we want twice a week service and we're willing to pay for that, right? So right now, Rowlett has 1 day a week service. I lived in Rockwall until about a week ago and I had 2 day a week service, right? I had Republic, so I had 2 day a week service. But I pay for 2 day a week service, there's no question. So we're gonna go through the presentation. It is 54 slides, but I talk fast. If I'm talking too fast, you can do this and I'll slow down, but it's just my nature. So those of you that know me, you see our logo, you'll see these guys all in I Like to Talk Trash shirts. We thought they were cute and funny. We'll see if I can figure out how to make this work. So really, time to look to the future. Our contract expires on September the 30th of 2024. Yes, that's a long time, but we have to pick a vendor by January or February of 23. So they have the lead time they need to get the equipment that we're going to require of them, right? We don't just let them bring all their old junky trucks over here. Typically, a provider has all new trucks, all new carts, all kinds of stuff. Equipment is what it says. Services and pricing are going to change. That much I can promise you. Even FCC couldn't provide the level of service that they do today at the cost that we have. Like I said, a lot has changed in the last 7 years. We want to know what matters to you. Here's a rough timeline. So it's kind of hard to see, but October, we're doing our public input sessions. There will be a survey online. Please tell your friends to fill it out. They will get to listen to my squeaky voice on a video recording on the website, and then there'll be access to the survey. We'll take all the citizen input, put it together. We will do an RFP, which is a request for proposal, which we'll send it out and say, these are the things we want. Send us your pricing is basically what happens. It's a competitive bidding process. Then we take all of that, we combine all of it, we meet with council who sees your feedback as well. You'll be able to give your feedback live today and on these, and our system does track that, so we'll have it. And then we'll go to council and we'll present what we got back in bids, what our citizens wanted, and they will narrow down those services. And most importantly is what is your taste for cost, right? Trash service, we're gonna talk about recycling, and we're gonna talk about brush and bulk. So currently your trash service comes once a week, right? Recycle comes the same day. And under our current contract, anything you can pretty much drag to the curb, if I'm not mistaken, FCC will pick up in bulk. Limbs, trash, anything like that. So we're gonna talk a lot about that. So this, we kind of did, it's hard for me to say it's gonna cost $7 or it's gonna cost $27 because in the big scheme of things, it kind of depends on the service we want. So we went with a $ icon just to give you some idea. Basic service is gonna be the most basic level of service, also the least expensive. Intermediate's gonna kind of be there in the middle, and best available means I'm willing to pay for you to pick up my trash twice a week and for you to pick up all the bulk I put out. Your current service is weekly trash, rear load pickup, so there are guys that run around behind the truck and chunk it, right? Weekly recycling is also rear load pickup. You have weekly bulk and brush pickup with no limit, and it is roughly $19.68 a month right now. So this kind of gives you just a range of prices of what different cities pay. You see Rowlett is somewhere in the middle. Keep in mind, we are not comparing apples to apples with this. This isn't other cities that have similar services to us. Some pay $12.75 all the way up to Mesquite residents who pay $23.25. Some of these folks have their own sanitation services. We do not. We contract ours out. But it's just kind of a range so you can kind of see where folks are. Here's what we want to know. What is important to you with residential trash? This is the first question. So how often would you prefer trash service? Once a week? That's your basic service. Or twice a week, which is your intermediate level service. You should be able to vote on your phone. All right, so here's the second one. How would you prefer for your trash to be picked up? An automated side loader, let me tell you what that is. They're going to drive by with a truck. There's a little gadget that snatches up your cart, dumps it, puts your cart back down, and they go on. There is no human that gets out of the truck and touches your trash cans. That is automated side loader. The alternative is rear loader, which means there are typically two people on a truck, a driver and a dude riding on the back. And that dude on the back jumps out, grabs the can, dumps it, gets back on, and they go to the next house. Does that make sense? All right, so next residential trash question. Currently, you have a 95-gallon cart, right? Those big green ones. One has a blue lid, one has a green lid. Do you want a 95-gallon cart? Do you want to be able to use your own can or cart? Or do you just want to be able to throw bags out there and then figure it out? All right, next question. Is it important for you to be able to set out extra trash or bags? So here's an example, right? You have a Christmas party at your house and you fill your can up, but your can is full. Is it important? Now, you got to think about how many times this happens. I'm giving you worst case scenario just for you to think about. Do you want to be able to set out extra bags and trash beside your can? So let's talk about bulk. What is bulk? And this may seem basic, but Mike had to explain to me what bulk was, right? Because I put my toaster out for bulk. I thought if it was trash, it went in the trash can, and if it wasn't trash, like household trash, I had to put it out for bulk, right? Bulk trash is defined as any household trash that does not fit into your cart, excluding brush. So you go out and trim the trees, you go out and trim your bushes, you go out and trim all that stuff. That is considered brush. But if your toaster breaks, throw your toaster into your trash can. Make sense? So this, just to give you some perspective, how much is 4 yards? 4 yards is the size of a washing machine and a dryer, right? Because one of the questions I'm going to ask you is how much. So that pile would be about 4 yards. First, how often would you prefer bulk service? The first one is you call them and say, my bulk is out, I need you to come pick it up once a month. The second one is once a month they show up. The third Monday of every month, you know your bulk's going to get picked up, or the fourth Monday, or the first Monday, depending on where you live. The third option is twice a month. They show up twice a month, Mondays and Wednesdays of your week, or this week and that week, and pick up your bulk. Or they show up once a week, every week, and pick up your bulk, which is what you currently have right now. How would you like to schedule it? Again, do you want to call it in, or do you just want them to show up on a schedule? Right now you have automatic. How much bulk trash do you want to include? You know what 4 yards looks like. You want 4 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards. Right now you have unlimited, and I will tell you that we will be hard-pressed to find a company that even provides that service. As we had some general conversations, as Ronnie and Mike had some general conversations with some of the providers, it is very hard to find a company that will provide unlimited anymore because it's really hard for them to plan how many trips back and forth they're going to have to make and be able to meet their standard. When do you want to set it out? Okay, so now I believe you set it out the night or the morning of. The week of collection, as I mentioned, that's my service. That was my service in Rockwall. I put it out on Sunday. They picked it up sometime during that week. I know that the second and fourth weeks are my weeks. So, night before, week of collection, you just want to stick it on the curb when you're ready to stick it on the curb. They're going to pick it up when they pick it up. What is brush? So again, know that this definition is here because I ask 100 questions. Brush is tree limbs, shrubbery, or any vegetation that you pull out. Bundled brush is set out in 4-foot length, so when we reference bundled, you'll understand it is whatever you put out has to be cut into 4-foot lengths 2 foot in diameter, and can't weigh more than 50 pounds. You currently have unbundled service, right? So if you drag it to the curb, remember that statement, if you drag it to the curb, they'll pick it up. So, do you prefer brush to be set out bundled or unbundled? How often do you want brush service? Again, do you want to call? Hey, I just had my trees trimmed. I want you to come pick it up. Do you just want it once a month? Do you want it twice a month? Do you want it once a week? Very similar to bulk, but this is specific to things that you trim. How would you like to schedule your brush service? Same question, but about brush. You want to call it in? You just want them to show up on the 3rd Monday, the 4th Thursday, the 2nd Tuesday of the month. How much brush do you want to include? Remember, same question as bulk. 4 yards, that's your washer and dryer. 8 yards is twice that big. 10 yards or unlimited, and you'll see a lot of dollar signs beside unlimited. There aren't many services, again, that provide that today. We have that with FCC, but there are not a lot of companies that are now providing that service going forward. When do you want to set your brush out? Same exact question as bulk. Night before, week of, drag it to the curb when you cut it down. They come when they come, right? Now, keep in mind, it's going to come based on when we pick, right? Whether it's once a week or you call, but night before, week of collection, anytime. This is the question about seasonal, right? So would you be interested in seasonal weather event brush drop-off? So there is an emergency and the company offers a drop-off spot where you can take it and leave it. Yes or no, that simple. This would be something outside of everything else is, hey, it's spring, so for this week, we're gonna do a huge city cleanup. Janet's gonna make sure everybody knows you can cut our trees down and take them to this place and put them. Recycle. Ready? Here we go. Next round of questions. Do you want recycle service at your home? And that seems like a silly question, but I guarantee you in this process, somebody will say no. How often do you want recycle? Once a week? Twice a week? Remember that typically your recycle truck is different than your trash truck. So hypothetically, you could get trash once a week, you could recycle twice. You could get. All right, next question. This is hard to see, we probably need to change the color of this one. How would you prefer your recycle to be picked up? Again, the question, side loader or rear load truck? Would you prefer a 95-gallon cart, use your own can, use bags? Again, same question as trash, right? You have some options. And I think it's fair to say in this process, and I think y'all know this and it goes without saying, we cannot do everything. But we're going to do our best to try to provide what the majority of our citizens want, which is why we're doing this 3 times.
All the options you might be confronted with, and you need to know what.
Yep, absolutely. We don't know what they're going to say to us, so we can't go out to bid until we kind of know what our citizens want. Is it important to you to be able to set out extra recycle bags outside of the container? Again, much like trash. I know one city, is it Mesquite that sells a bag that's a recycle bag? Mesquite sells. You can go to their utility billing department, you can buy a bag, you can set it out right next to your recycle can if you need to. So overall, this is a general question. What are you willing to support in the way of price, right? So if any of you in the last few months have filled out our facility survey, we asked the question, what is your priority of facilities and how much of a tax increase are you willing to support to do that? This is just much the same question. Basic service is all I'm willing to pay for. We kind of know then what we need to do. Intermediate, or I want the best available service and I'm willing to pay for it. So, again, this is our timeline. I so appreciate you all being here today. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions. Everybody that has on a blue shirt that says I like to talk trash, when I finish this, they will be around to answer questions. We're doing these sessions now. Our goal is to then create an RFP or an RFQ. RFP, Vicki? RFP. We'll go out. We will get the survey. We'll get the menu of services that are available to us. We'll take what our citizens said. We'll compare it to that. We'll take what our citizens are willing to pay, and we'll compare it to that. We'll take what service we have now and what we're willing to pay for that. And then we will make a presentation to council, likely late December, early January-ish, maybe even January, mid-January, where we present all of this. What did our citizens say? What are your options? And then city council will make a decision about going forward about the trash service.